Rumors, which Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac made, is one of the best-selling records ever. Their songs were #1 all over the world. They went on trips around the world together. Fans yelled their names. Then everything changed one night. She has already given them a lot of chances. She forgiven many times. But everyone can only take so much. It took 40 years for hers to come. She now won't share a stage with them. You would be shocked to learn why this choice was made. Steve Nicks was born in Phoenix, Arizona on May 26, 1948. Because she was a little girl, she couldn't say her real name, Stephanie Lynn Nicks. She said TD instead, which quickly turned into Stevie. It didn't move. This cute name wouldn't be known all over the world for long. Stevie has always had music in her life. She liked sounds even when she was a baby. Her family was religious, but music was her real church. Her grandpa, A.J. Nicks, was the first person to help her with it. He wasn't well known, but he played country music and took trains to bars and pool halls to sing. He made money by playing pool, too. He taught her to sing duets with him when she was only 4 years old. You Mine was their first song together, and in a way, she did own the music. At age 5, she was already putting on shows for other people. Her grandfather made her a guitar by hand. In the end, Stevie said that he wasn't a great singer, but that he could write songs well. Funny enough, she would say the same thing about herself one day. The family always had a place to live because her dad worked for Greyhound. They moved around a lot. He lived in Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Utah, and California as a child. She had to leave her new friends behind every time she made one. She was told by her mom to make friends quickly, and that there would always be a better house. Stevie was always on the go and never felt like he was at rest. There was a time when she sang about being a traveler, which made sense. She was able to adapt to that way of life. She was ready for the fast-paced world of music where things change all the time. They gave her a big present when she turned 16. First guitar for her. It was a Goya and cost around $1,000, which was a lot of money back then. These days, that's worth more than $9,000. She had only been taking lessons for 6 weeks when her teacher left for Spain. However, her parents still bought her a guitar. Stevie wrote her first real song in her room on her 16th birthday. It was called I've Lost and Loved. It was about a boy she liked who chose her best friend over him. The words were easy, but they made me feel a lot. Stevie felt it deep down after that song was over. She planned to do this all the days of her life. The next time she played music in her room, her family knew not to bother her, not even during dinner. He did more than write songs. She also paid attention to them. Her grandpa once gave her 150 records with music by Martha Reeves, the Sherrills, and the Shangri-Las. She loved the R&B and dance music of the 1960s. She joined a band called The Changing Times when she was in high school in Southern California. It was her first real band, and the mamas and the papas gave her ideas. The most important event was when her family moved again, this time to Palo Alto. For her final year, Stevie moved to Menlo Atherton High School. That night in 1966, Stevie Nicks had no plans to meet anyone special. She was only 18 years old and had just moved to Menlo Atherton in California as a senior in high school. It was Wednesday, and she mostly went to church to meet new people. Then she saw him, a 17-year-old with curly hair and deep blue eyes, playing the guitar to Hollywood Dreams. He was known as Lindsey Buckingham. Stevie walked over and started singing along without giving it much thought. Her voice matched his perfectly. It was only one song and one moment. That spark, though, would change their lives for good. After that night, they didn't talk much. They didn't see each other again for a whole year. Lindsey was in the trippy rock band Fritz, but they were having trouble. They had just lost 2 singers. The girl from church with the haunting voice came to mind. Stevie was called and asked to join. Yes, she said. They played together from 1967 to 1971, but not as lovers. They were in the same band. They opened for big names like Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix at famous San Francisco spots. She took in all the stage magic she could. She always had a plan B in case something went wrong while she was off stage. Studying speech communication at San Jose State University, she would teach English if singing didn't work out. We both think that we would have gotten married and stayed in San Francisco if we hadn't moved to Los Angeles. Also, we think we would have still been well known. The band did not last, though. Fritz broke up in 1971. After that, everything changed. Since Stevie and Lindsay were no longer in the group, they chose to keep playing together. The relationship changed all of a sudden. They fell in love. Since Stevie's father agreed, she dropped out of college and made plans to move to Los Angeles with Lindsay. But Lindsay got mono just as they were getting ready to leave. They had to wait almost a year to move. Steve stayed with him and looked after him. They wrote songs, worked on harmonies, and built the sound that would make them famous one day during those quiet, tired months. In late 1972, they finally got to L.A. Their first record, Buckingham Nicks, came out in 1973. It was brave. It was real. The cover picture showed them partly naked, which Stevie later felt bad about but had to do. The song was real and honest, but it didn't do well. Not even 40,000 copies were sold. The critics were not pleased. It gave up on the label. Stevie found herself needing to clean houses and work as a waitress at Bob's Big Boy to make ends meet. She cleaned the house of director Keith Olsen for $50 a week. Lindsay did studio work whenever he could. They had no money. They lived together in a one-bedroom flat. Food was cheap. Whatever they could buy, like tuna or macaroni. Their love was put to the test and was stretched thin, but music kept them together. Then something unexpected happened. Mick Fleetwood walked into a studio in California at the end of 1974. He listened to a song called Frozen Love by a band called Buckingham Nicks that wasn't very well known. Even though the song was almost 7 minutes long, Fleetwood couldn't stop listening to it. The guitar blew him away. It could not have been better timing. They had just lost their musician and needed to find a new one. Frost called Lindsay Buckingham that same night, December 31st. He asked Buckingham to join the band, but Buckingham said no because Stevie was already there. They worked together as a team. Fleetwood could have turned them down, but he chose to say yes to both of them. That moment changed the course of music. That night they met for dinner at a Mexican restaurant in Los Angeles. Ford, John McVie, and Christine McVie were sitting on one side. At the other end are Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. It was a strange sight. The band was worn out. Tired of band changes for years. They didn't have any money. Their record didn't do well, and they were barely making it. But something at that table went off. Christine liked the way Stevie dressed. Lindsay had a sound that Fleetwood liked. They made up their minds to do it. After a few weeks, they began practicing. That's when the magic really started. Steph came with 2 songs, Rhiannon and Landslide. The band members had never heard anything like them before. Rhiannon seemed eerie, like a ghost. Stevie would dance around the stage in black dresses and sing like she was giving spells. Mick Fleetwood once said, "Watching her was like watching an exorcism." Landslide was even more emotional. While looking at the snow-covered mountains in Colorado, she wrote it. She was thinking about whether she should quit singing. Those songs really hit me. They didn't just sound good, they felt real, and they gave the band something they hadn't had before. Words that made you feel things. Fleetwood Mac put out a new record on July 11, 1975. It took a while to blow up. It got on the Billboard chart at number 183 and stayed there. It went up every week for 57 weeks until it finally got to number 1 in September 1976. It was being played all the time. Everyone hit it. Christine's soft songs, Lindsay's wild guitar, and Stevie's mysterious words. I Love You, Brian, Over My Head, Say You Love Me, and Landslide. It had sold more than 7 million copies in the US alone by 2018. It took a while to catch on in the UK, but it did, and it went gold. Fleetwood Mac was now a bigger, better, stronger, but also messy band. The stress grew as their fame did. Stevie was getting famous. It was in her speech, her look, and the way she made people feel. But fame came with flaws. Her relationship with Lindsay was ending. For years they were together, but now they fight all the time. They were married when the new group began, but Christine and John McVie were also breaking up. And Mick Fleetwood. He found out that his wife was cheating on him and then slept with Stevie. Even though it was a mess, the music was still good. In 1976, they began to record reports. It would take almost a year. It was close to $1 million back then, which is about $5 million now. They fought, cried, and yelled. But then they went into the studio and recorded some of the best songs ever. They did more than write music. They wrote to each other. Lindsay wrote the mean lyrics for Go Your Own Way, like, shacking up is all you want to do. Stevie was angry. It made her want to kill him every time she sang that on stage. Dreams, soft and smooth but deadly, was her answer. Then there was a twist. Stevie Nicks' first record as a solo artist, Belladonna, came out. In the summer of 1981. It debuted at number 12 on the charts in its first week, which was the best start since Stevie Wonder's Hotter Than July. That was big on its own, but it went even further. It was number 1 by September. It did even better than Fleetwood Mac's Mac's Tusk, which only got to number 4. The record went platinum just 3 months after it came out. It had gone 4 times platinum by 1990. It sold more than 5 million copies in the US in the end. It took 4 songs for Belladonna to reach the top. Don't Drag My Heart Around was Tom Petty's third number 1 hit. Leather and Lace with Donnie. Henley got to number 6. Edge of 17 moved up to number 11. And After the Glitter Fades got to number 32. Stevie said the record was like a dream. She said it hurt her heart, but made her strong to fight for love. It was more than just a hit record. It got her into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She was proud of that for herself and all women around the world. Not only did Belladonna start something else, it became her signature sound. Sharon Solani and Laurie Perry, 2 backup singers who were always with her, sang it. He met Laurie in 1971 after he and Lindsay Buckingham moved to Los Angeles. In 1977, Sharon was singing in a Hawaiian bar when she met her. Stevie said she didn't move while she watched Sharon sing for 30 seconds. Sharon wasn't even aware because she was so into the music. That was something Stevie liked. She wanted their sounds to talk back and forth, like a phone call. She wanted someone like Crosby, Stills, and Nash, but with women. She even gave them a record, To Loretta and Kyrona for Never Leaving Me, as a thank you for their support over the years. Stevie's Wild Heart came out 2 years after Belladonna. It came out in June 1983, right after the Fleetwood Mac's Mirage tour. Her best friend Robin Anderson had died a year before, and she was still sad about it. Stevie was changed by that loss, and the music shows it. The Wild Heart stayed at number 5 on the Billboard 200 for 7 weeks. In just 3 months it went silver, and by 1993, more than 2 million copies had been sold. She brought in well-known people. She got a song from Tom Petty. Mick Fleetwood was on a song. On Stand Back, Prince even added a keyboard part, though not named. Her next album, Rock a Little, came out in 1985 and went platinum in just 1 month. It got to number 12 on the charts. 1 million copies were sold in the US, and more than 100,000 were sold in the UK. In the charts, Talk to Me peaked at number 4, I Can't Wait at number 16, and Has Anyone Ever Written Anything for You at number 7. Even though it didn't sell as well as her other records, it was still one of the top 50 albums of 1986. Tom Petty was a big part of her journey by herself. He almost gave her the song Insider, but he kept it instead. Instead, he wrote a huge hit called "Stop Dragging My Heart Around for Her." After some time, he wrote, "I Will Run to You" just for her second album. Stevie used to say that Petty was her favorite singer-songwriter. There was a story behind her song "Leather and Lace." While it was meant for Juan Jennings and Jesse Coulter, they never used it. The two of them recorded it, and it became another hit. Stevie played for huge crowds of people. There was a big one. At the U.S. Festival in 1983, there were more than 650,000 people there. Still that same year, she did Stand Back and Nightbird on Saturday Night Live. After 41 years, she didn't come back to the show until 2023. But there were costs to being a solo artist and a part of Fleetwood Mac. She once said that going back and forth was a blessing, but it was hard on her. Things were going badly by the late 1980s. Klonopin was given to her by a doctor. It was meant to help her calm down. She almost lost her life because of it. She said it was like a bottle of drugs. It cost her 8 years. Her imagination went away. Her enthusiasm went away. She put on weight and didn't like how she looked. The worst part was that she couldn't write. She stopped being in Fleetwood Mac in 1993. She hit her head on a stove and hurt herself. That's when things broke. She went to a rehab center and stayed there for 47 days. It was terrible. Her hair turned gray. Her skin came off. Her legs hurt all the time. It was the hardest thing she had ever done, she said. She knew she had to do it, though. There was no easy way out. There was cocaine before Klonopin. In the early 1970s she began, but by the late 1970s, it was out of hand. Her nose was broken. She was spending a lot of money on the drug. People on the crew had to watch her during shows to make sure she didn't fall off. After being high on drugs for 48 hours, she forgot to take out her contacts one night. So much damage was done to her corneas that she had to act with bandages on her eyes. When she was with Joe Walsh from the Eagles, she used drugs in a very bad way. They wouldn't sleep for days on end. Walsh had to leave them both in the end for their own good. A plastic surgeon told her in 1986 that the next line could kill her. That's when she went to the Betty Ford Center. It kept her away from drugs, but she never forgiven the doctor who gave her Klonopin afterward. She said he took years away from me. Years that I could have written, loved, and lived. Stevie says she got through it all by herself. I kept me safe. She often says it again. Her name was on the list for rehab. She fought even though it hurt. No one should feel sorry for her. She didn't ask for help. She made Tom Petty worry, though. It was so bad that he once said, "If the phone rang and they said she died, I wouldn't have been surprised." Stevie did say there was a time she didn't want to clean up, though. She said she didn't want to get off the white horse. Her art got worse. She didn't like how Klonopin changed her songs. Her words were that artists need drama, pain, and feeling. All of that was taken away by the drug. That's why she didn't like Street Angel, which came out in 1994. It didn't matter to her when she made it. She wasn't feeling anything. There was no longer any fire. It didn't go well with people. She almost gave up music, but she slowly came back after rehab. She told him that she still smokes pot sometimes while she writes, but she is careful. It's the only thing she lets herself do, and it helps her make art. In 1983, Stevie Nicks made a choice that she herself later said was a bad, terrible mistake. Robin, her best friend, had just died of leukemia. Matthew, Robin's son, was born 2 days before she died. She got married to Robin's husband, Kim Anderson, while she was still sad. They were just friends. Both of them were broken. They thought that getting married might help them get through the hard times. It didn't, though. It was only 3 months long. They didn't talk to each other after the split. After many years, Stevie got in touch with Matthew. She paid for his schooling. He became an adult and had a daughter. She was named Robin. She changed her name to Grandma Stevie. In 1976, Spio got breast implants when Fleetwood Mac was at the top of their popularity. It was in style. She was told it was safe by everyone. She agreed with them. She lived with them for almost 20 years. Then, in 1994, her health got worse. She was always tired. They said it was Epstein-Barr virus. They told her it wasn't because of the implants, but she wouldn't listen. She had them taken off. They were broken inside her. She later said, "I'm living proof that they're not safe." She was still tired. It came back over and over. It hurt her so much sometimes she couldn't sing. Even so, she kept doing shows. She was one of the first famous people to speak out against silicone implants. Stevie seemed like she was from another world all the time. She thought that in a past life she had been killed. Even her dancing teacher thought it was true. That's why she couldn't tilt her head back in salons. It had to be held by someone. Her style came from being scared. She was nervous on stage in 1975, so she wore 18 pounds of lace, velvet, chiffon, and other loose black clothes. She added, "I'll be very sexy and no one will know who I really am." Her look evolved but stayed magical. Top hats, shawls, angelic whites, shoulder pads in the 80s. When she sang Ryan, people called her a witch. She got letters. Some were scary. She was afraid. But later she said, "I'm all grown up now." When Stevie joined Fleetwood Mac in 1975, the band asked Christine McVie if it was okay for another woman to join. Christine said yes right away, and they hit it off right away. Christine was cool and sober, and Stevie was dreamy and free. They never fought, and Christine once said, "She sings to me on stage every night." Stevie would sing, "I Still See Your Bright Eyes," and look right at Christine. That was their bond. But on November 30th, 2022, Christine McVie died. Stevie didn't even know her best friend was sick until a few days before the funeral. It was too late. Christine's family told Stevie not to come because she may not be here tomorrow. He stayed home, though. She didn't get to say goodbye. Christine died at the same time from a heart attack, cancer, and a stroke. Stevie did want to sing one more time to her. She laughed later that it would have killed her faster, but she was really hurt. That time never came, though. Following that, Stevie made it very clear. Mac Fleetwood could no longer go on. Not without Christine first. Not a reason to. She said that singing wasn't the only thing that brought them together. It was more than that. Since 1975, they had lived together. They never fought and never grew apart. When they saw each other again after months had passed, it was like no time had passed at all. She said that Christine was her singing soulmate and best friend. Things didn't feel right without her. Mick Fleetwood, the drummer for the band, even said it in public. She said, "The line in the sand has been drawn," at the Grammys. Stevie felt like pretending the band was still living would be like pretending its heart hadn't stopped beating. Since "we're done," she didn't want to do that. "I went to do some crazy shows at the very start of 2012. But to be honest, Stevie had been pulling away for a long time before Christine died. She was already angry about the way music works these days. In 2017, she said she wouldn't make another Fleetwood Mac record. It cost too much, took too much time, and didn't pay off enough. She told us that we are no longer 40. It would take a year to record and even longer to tour. And it didn't make sense to make new songs now that fans can stream for free. She missed the times when records were bought because of songs that meant something. She was afraid that their work would get lost in the noise. 2003 was the last time they put out a record. That was enough for her. She said no one would listen to it. Then there was Lindsey Buckingham. They had known each other since high school, but their relationship had turned into a battleground. Everything went off in 2018. Stevie gave a speech. After performing at a benefit show, Lindsey gave a grin. That was the last blow. After a few days, their boss called him. He was told that Stevie will never want to be on stage with you again. Stevie told the band they had to choose. He or she has to go. They picked her. She didn't look back after that. She made it clear in 2024. I gave him over 300 million chances. When she thought about hearing her parents, her voice shook. They said it's time for a split. They didn't say much when they saw each other again at Christine's funeral. But Stevie Nicks did more than just make songs. She changed history. She became the first woman ever to be admitted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice on March 29, 2019. In 1998, it happened for the first time with Fleetwood Mac. The second time, she stood there by herself for all women who had ever picked up a mic. She spoke to the crowd what everyone knew, but had never said out loud. 22 men had been brought in twice, not one woman. That's when she kicked the door down. They sang together that night. There was Harry Styles next to her. He told her she was timeless. She was dressed like her 7 times out of 10, he said. It's not just fame. That's history. For Stevie, this wasn't about his pride either. It was finally time for women in rock to get the attention they had been missing for decades. But the story began a long time before that night. In 1977, she helped make Rumors, which became one of the most popular records of all time. A lot of people bought it. It was ranked 7th by Rolling Stone as the best record of all time. Belladonna, her first album by herself, was just as strong. It gave us Edge of 17, a song that Beyoncé used as a clip for Bootylicious. Stevie not only made singers want to be like her, she also changed pop culture. She wrote brave, beautiful, and honest songs. When she was 27, she wrote Landslide. After hearing a story about a Welsh goddess in dreams, Ryan wrote Fleetwood Mac's only #1 hit in the U.S. The song was written in a time of chaos and heartbreak. As a solo act, she kept getting to the top of the charts. When she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, her most popular songs were put on a collection called Stand Back. It included duets with Don Henley and Tom Petty. People really liked it. The critics loved it, and the company finally had to say it. She was more than just a part of a famous band. She was the story. After decades in the business, most artists slow down. Stevie, no. Even though she's 76 years old, she still sings on stage in the same black shawls and boots. People still flock to see her. The power is still in her voice, even though it's not as loud as it used to be. After Christine McVie's death, she talked about her at a show in 2023. Christine's words to her were, "When you're sad, you sing. The crowd will lift you up, and they always do." One of her favorite memories is from a Fleetwood Mac reunion in 1997. She looked right at Lindsey Buckingham as she sang Silver Springs. It wasn't just a show, it was a judgment. This video quickly became a hit on TikTok, getting over 2.5 million likes. Gen Z couldn't take her eyes off of it either. She does more than just make songs. It was like she made a whole look, mood, and age. Moonlit stages, chiffon, and lace. Stevie turned it into a brand before there were brands. Stars, designers, and regular fans all copied her hippie chic style. People used to think she was a witch because of how she dressed. She didn't fight it, though. Instead, she used it in her magic. Other artists had to do what she did. Vanessa Carlton, Sheryl Crow, and Taylor Swift. A long time ago, even Eminem said he loved Ryan. This is what I know about Stevie. She's more than just rock. She's everywhere. The Chicks saved her from the collapse and brought her into the country. The Child of Destiny asked her to join their video. She said that being with them made her feel like she belonged.